Hey, Chivis! I'm Ivy, and today we are talking about America's struggle to attract and retain the researchers powering its innovation economy. If you enjoy stories like this, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go. Act 1. The asset you cannot see. A country can lose scientific power without closing a single laboratory. The first signs may appear in a graduate student's enrollment decision, a researcher's visa application, or a company's offer to hire an entire university team. Today, we are asking a financial question with a human answer. Is the United States still the easiest place for ambitious researchers to build a future, or is its innovation system becoming too expensive and uncertain to sustain? The phrase smart people is too vague to measure. So let us be more precise. We are talking about researchers, inventors, engineers, physicians, international graduate students, faculty members, and highly trained workers whose knowledge can produce patents, companies, discoveries, and trained successors. For decades, the American advantage came from combining several systems. Universities trained people from around the world. Federal agencies funded research whose payoff might be years away. Private companies commercialized useful discoveries. Venture capital helped turn laboratories into startups. The system was imperfect, but it was unusually good at turning talent into economic activity. The central question is not simply whether some researchers move abroad. People have always moved. The question is whether the United States is weakening the pipeline that brings talent in, trains it, funds it, and gives it reasons to stay. Act 2. What brain drain really measures. Before declaring a national exodus, we need to separate 4 different things. Someone may say they are considering leaving. They may submit an application, they may accept an offer, or they may actually relocate. Those are not interchangeable measurements. A survey can detect anxiety before it detects migration. A researcher worried about funding may explore jobs in Canada or Europe without leaving an existing laboratory. Family obligations, visa rules, children's schooling, professional networks, and the absence of an equivalent position can all turn an intention into no move at all. The same caution applies to international students. A decline in new enrollment could reflect visa delays, changing demographics, higher costs, or a temporary comparison with an unusually strong previous year. It does not automatically prove that every missing student chose another country. The best evidence combines several indicators. We should watch enrollment, completed moves, faculty vacancies, grant success, patents, publications, startup formation, and the retention of graduates. If only one survey changes while all those other measures remain stable, the warning is real but incomplete. There is also an important distinction between leaving the United States and leaving American academia. An artificial intelligence professor who joins a domestic company has not migrated, but students may lose a teacher and open research may become proprietary. The country may gain a product while losing part of its training capacity. Act 3. Follow the money. Research careers involve an unusual financial trade. A graduate student may spend years on a modest stipend. A postdoctoral researcher may move repeatedly for temporary positions. A faculty member may depend on grants that arrive irregularly. Meanwhile, housing, healthcare, childcare, and student debt keep demanding payment every month. The United States can offer exceptional salaries, but those salaries are not distributed evenly. Certain artificial intelligence, finance, defense, and technology roles pay spectacularly. Basic biology, climate science, teaching, and early career academic work often do not. Averages can hide this divide, because a small group of highly paid specialists pulls the headline number upward. Location makes the difference sharper. Boston, the Bay Area, Seattle, and Washington have powerful research ecosystems, but they also impose extraordinary housing costs. A nominally attractive salary can lose much of its value when rent, commuting, insurance, and childcare consume it. This is why salary comparisons alone are incomplete. A researcher may compare not just wages, but laboratory resources, research autonomy, visa certainty, public services, family stability, and the chance of securing a permanent position. A slightly lower salary can be attractive if the career path is more predictable and daily expenses are lower. Other countries understand this calculation. Recruitment packages may include a grant, laboratory equipment, graduate student funding, relocation assistance, and a stable appointment. The advertised bonus matters, but so does the infrastructure behind it. A large promise on paper is not proof of successful recruitment until people accept, move, and produce work. Act 4. The public money behind private breakthroughs. The United States spends enormous sums on research and development, and businesses account for roughly 3/4 of total spending, depending on the year and definition. But total research spending is not the same as basic research. Companies naturally emphasize development and applied projects with clearer commercial returns. Federal funding remains especially important for universities, public laboratories, health research, defense science, and work whose benefits may be distant or impossible to predict. That distinction matters because the next valuable technology often begins as a question rather than a product. The path from basic research to commercial success is rarely a straight line. Public research may create knowledge, tools, train people, or infrastructure that private companies later combine into a product. It is difficult to credit one grant with causing a single invention, but it is reasonable to say that public investment can create options the market did not yet know how to price. That is also why budget proposals require careful language. A presidential request is not an enacted appropriation. A proposed cut is not necessarily the final budget. A program announcement is not the same as money reaching a laboratory. Confusing those stages can make a fragile system look either healthier or weaker than it really is. The deeper financial mismatch is this. The public sector often absorbs early uncertainty, while private firms capture many later rewards. That arrangement can work well, but only if the public pipeline remains stable enough to keep producing ideas and people. Act 5. The competition is global and the answer is domestic. China, Canada, European countries, Singapore, Australia, and others are expanding research capacity or recruiting internationally trained scientists. China has become one of the world's largest research and development performers. Depending on the metric, it may rank first under purchasing power comparisons, while the United States remains extraordinarily strong in venture capital, frontier companies, universities, and high-impact research. Purchasing power parity needs a warning label. It estimates how much domestic labor, equipment, and services a country can buy. It does not mean China spends more United States dollars. Nominal spending, purchasing power, patents, publications, citations, and breakthrough quality are different measurements. Competition with China also creates a security dilemma. Protecting sensitive research can be legitimate, but treating nationality as a proxy for misconduct can discourage the very international collaboration that helped American science grow. Security policy should focus on documented behavior, conflicts, and specific technologies, not broad suspicion of students or researchers. The United States still has major advantages. Its leading universities remain powerful. Its companies can offer extraordinary opportunities in selected fields. Its startup ecosystem and research networks are difficult to reproduce. A slower inflow is not automatically a net talent loss, and a researcher who leaves may continue collaborating, publishing, investing, or eventually returning. But advantages can erode before collapse becomes visible. If graduate programs shrink, laboratories lose staff, young researchers exit for industry, and public funding becomes unpredictable, the damage may appear first as fewer mentors, fewer experiments, and fewer chances for the next generation. The strongest conclusion is not that America has already lost its scientific lead. The evidence does not justify that sweeping claim. The more defensible conclusion is that the country may be creating a mismatch. It still wants the companies and technologies produced by research, while making the training and discovery system less stable for the people who create them. Act 6. The choice behind the numbers. A serious response would begin with stable, multi-year support for foundational and translational research. It would improve graduate stipends and postdoctoral conditions, expand high-skill immigration pathways, reduce unnecessary visa uncertainty, and make it easier for researchers to move between institutions without abandoning their careers. It would also address housing and regional development near research centers while investing in domestic education from primary school through university. International recruitment and domestic opportunity are not substitutes. Reducing one does not automatically create the other, because training a researcher takes years and requires teachers, laboratories, and mentorship. Finally, policy should measure outcomes rather than headlines, track who applies, who moves, who stays, what gets funded, who teaches, which firms form, and which discoveries spread. The goal is not to prevent talented people from moving. It is to ensure that the United States remains a place where talent can build, teach, experiment, and create value. A country does not protect its innovation advantage by claiming ownership of brilliant people. It protects that advantage by making the entire system worth choosing. If the evidence develops into a sustained decline, the warning will not be that every researcher has fled. It will be that fewer people see America as the obvious place to begin. If this analysis helped clarify the difference between a warning sign and a proven trend, consider subscribing for more evidence-focused explanations of finance, technology, and economic power. And if you disagree, bring a better measurement to the conversation. That is how this question should be answered.